From your guitar. Today I am with Travis of Coheed and Cambria again. Travis, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been 9 years since we did the last one. I filmed the last one, so I got to remember some of your guitars, some new friends, some old friends.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. I know that you just did a Big Five for us recently. Shout out to the Big Fives. Check that out video. Cool
that
answers
was
you
fun.
provided.
Yeah.
But you had an awesome story about this gold top. So tell me about this.
Okay, so I guess it was probably 2010, and we had just done our album, or we were still in the middle of recording Year of the Black Rainbow, and I had been in touch with Gibson to try and get a custom Black Beauty, okay, and so we started working on a template. We started working on having the keywork in the body, and I mean, I just wanted a friend of ours' father that we grew up with had a Black Beauty, and I remember picking it up when I was a kid and feeling like I had the world in my hands.
Yeah.
And being able to plug it in and hearing how incredible it sounded. I always wanted one, and I was like, well, if I'm going to get one finally, let's like put the keywork in it.
Yeah.
So we had this whole thing, ready to go, and they were like, you're going to have to pay artist price, and I was like, I figured it's fine. And they were just like, but we will throw in another, guitar of your choice, reasonable choice. And I always wanted a gold top, and I knew that this wasn't like, it was the traditional Gibson gold top.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'll try it, right? So we'll talk more about this one later.
Okay.
And I'll plug it in.
A little preview.
That's a little preview of the keywork. It's not a sticker. So basically this came. And I hadn't even, I went and picked one up one day, and I like how heavy it is.
Yeah.
Everybody complained about that, but I love, like, it's almost to me like when I go on stage, I'm going fucking work.
Is it your heaviest one you have?
This is the heaviest guitar I got. Dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a heavy guitar. So.
You're a heavy dude.
So, yeah, well, that's why. Like, I like to have something, I want something that I can do heavy lifting with, what I mean? So I was basically like, I like the way this feels, I like the way it sounds, but I didn't put much thought into it. I'm still like, I get this Black Beauty, So lo and behold, I get the two guitars, and I think that the custom Black was on Year of the Black Rainbow, but I wound up the rest of the time in the studio recording everything with this.
Wow.
Because I loved how it sounded and how it felt, and just like, the frets, the fretboard, everything is completely different than this guy, as it always is with guitars.
Yep.
And something about this one just makes me comfortable playing. I can't even, I don't know what it is. It's just, this guitar has been my home base of playing for the past, so that's 2010,
Decade.
It's
Decade
crazy.
plus.
12 years, almost 13. So it's like, every record I've played on since, this guitar has been pretty much all of it, unless I choose, we're talking about live right now, obviously, but when it comes to recording, I will experiment with all different guitars, but I know this is my safe bet. You know what I mean? Unless I'm looking for like something that's like a Strat sound or something. This is the safe bet for the Les Paul sound.
Now, since you brought up the recording of the most recent record that you guys have, is there anything that's like people be surprised that you use in the record while recording?
I did use a Strat on one song,
okay.
in particular a little bit. The song Bad Man, I think I used some Strat on it, but it's funny, it was mixed and matched, and most of the other parts are with this.
Okay.
This is a majority of the record.
And is there anything different between the custom and this in terms of pickups? Are they the same pickups or different pickups?
They're the same pickups, right? Yeah. I pretty much have the same pickups in everything.
Okay. Yeah. And that is, are they Gibson pickups or?
We'll get Ryan involved, can Ryan be?
Yeah, Ryan.
Because Ryan's been, this is Ryan.
Come on in, Ryan.
Say hi, folks.
Hello, how is everyone?
So I think that we are dealing with pretty much every. Is there any of them that have different pickups?
Well, your ES-137.
That's right. We kept the same ones.
That's your newest guitar.
And I liked how it.
The stock pickups in it.
Okay.
Everything else had gotten a variation of either a 57 Classic Plus or a 57 Classic. There has been a few times where we've switched complete systems or harnesses, like the one time we went EMG, stuff like that, but we always land back in pretty much the Gibson Pro custom shop area.
Where I'm comfy.
Okay.
But the ES-235 we will go back to. I love how that sounds.
Okay.
And I use it for my drop D stuff, which is often with a lot of the Coheed drop D is like the more sludgy kind of sounding. Specifically on our last record for live, we had a song called Toys, and that guitar just sounded perfect for that.
Which is funny that you're using a semi-hollow for like your heaviest songs.
Well, yeah, this thing is different than like the, oh shit, well, that's my guitar, so I can do that. This is different than the 335s, you know, in the sense that it has this completely different sound than the 335. And I was surprised with how much I liked it for those like heavier songs too. I think I would just go back to this or one of the other Les Pauls, but this thing worked perfect for that, right? I mean, sounds great for it.
Yeah, it's a great looking guitar, sounds great.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. Let's not lie here. Like you know, if it's sexy, you know, and it sounds good, then it's kind of your soul.
Combination.
You know, I think that was part of the allure with Les Pauls when I was a kid, before I could really play. Was like you saw some of your favorite guitar players playing them, and it became this, you know, this obsession for me to want to be able to play Gibsons. And then you realize that no wonder they were playing them. You know,
it's got to be a trip for you, Travis. Now that you're probably doing that to the younger generation of players that are coming up, like they might want a gold top or they might want a custom because of what you bring to the table now as a guitar player.
I mean, I hope so, and I hope like with this is like a brand new kind of. To be honest, I foresee this being on more recorded stuff too. Like it's new. This is just, I got this a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Now is this a heavy guitar? Because it looks very thin in its frame.
Feel it. I mean, it's heavier than you think it is. It's not heavy like this, but it's heavier than you think.
It's got a much slimmer profile than the Les Pauls.
So basically, when it comes to the live sounds, that's also how I choose, you know, I also choose the guitar that's going to, like the other night, Ryan and I were talking about it because I was playing, I think I was playing Beautiful Losers, which is from our new record, and it was in D. And this guitar I had found perfect for the song I gave an example of, which was Toys. But I was like, you know, and it was at rehearsal, right? So it happened to be, or it was a sound check. It happened to be that I had this guitar, so I just tuned down to D real quick, and I was like, maybe I like this better, even though I usually play the D, you know, for this song. But then I played that night, I played this, and it still worked perfect. So it's all perspective, you know, like you never know how you're gonna, you know, really feel about it. But I tend to realize that this guitar, with the pickups that it came with, like is a guitar that I might start leaning on using a lot more. But this is still my go-to, always.
And you're always a Bigsby guy.
Oh yeah, I mean I feel like, honestly, just to give away the trick that I have with it is it's a safety net for me, you know?
In what way?
I can utilize the shitty sound that I made if I make a mistake or something like that. You know, like it's like it hit the wrong note. Add that to it, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, I did something cool with it, even though it was the wrong fucking note, you know? And I always love it for chords. Kind of surfer. I'm a very big, you know, Young fan, very big.
He finds those bad notes and really rips them.
Yeah!
There's something to have that control of the modulation of the note rather than either using like a phaser or even like vibrato. It's something to really...
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like I've gone through shitloads of different tremolo pedals throughout the years, and I'd rather control it myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and especially like with the... Like, and it could be, especially for me, like you can feel some nervous energy sometimes when I'm doing it, and to me, like there's some beauty to that.
Yeah.
Maybe not to other people, but to me, I've liked it, you know. And that's definitely made its way onto Coheed stuff and onto other things I've done. So, basically Bigsby, but that's why I like having the ones that don't have them too. You know what I mean? Like the custom.
Let's move on to the custom.
So the custom is tuned to half a step down. I tend to use it for songs unless it's a song that I know is going to have, which the last time we did a tour, which was the whole album, Good Apollo on Burning Star 4. It was a big deal to roll out with having, this is the first time we had numerous guitars on stage and stuff like that. Actually having somebody on the side of the stage that was going to help hand you the guitar that was in that different tuning, as opposed to, like, if you have standard and then you have half step down, the E flat or E lower, or, drop D's easy. You stand there, you go, you're good. Oh, let's see, this is half step down. You're good. But if you're going, everything's going down. Like, to tune this guitar all the way up right now, even if I take the volume down, I stand here, Chris is going to be standing here going, what the fuck are we doing?
This guy.
So, yeah, and so you can't, you better have a long segue to do that live. So even for the guitar tech to have to do that with one or two guitars, and we had shared guitar techs in this era, mind you. So it started to be that we would have one that was half step down, one that's already in D. When we started to have more than one or two guitars, like, we shared backup guitars. So we're talking 2002, 2003. It would be Claudio and I both had our main guitar and one guitar in case somebody broke a string.
Is it ever surreal to kind of realize the path you guys have made?
Dude, I look at this and I go, I sometimes have to go, oh yeah, those are mine. That's right, those are mine. And I kind of look at Ryan tuning and I go, he's tuning my guitar. Holy shit. And you just feel fucking grateful, that that's the case at all. So it's like, when it comes down to, switching the guitars, like, I wanted to have, like, guitars that really, because back then it was like, well, this isn't my favorite guitar at all, and it doesn't sound that great, but if I have it half step down, I don't have to go through all the bullshit, and we could just get to that song, But eventually it was like, no, I want to have a really nice guitar that sounds great, that's in, E flat.
Yeah.
And so when I eventually got this, and I loved, so it was kind of like, sorry, sweetheart, but that one, the gold top over there, obviously, as we spoke about, became the main, but I was like, I still love this. This could be the half step down. And it's kind of cool because unless I need the Bigsby, or something like that, this can be the one that doesn't have it. So for recording and stuff, Do you
ever find yourself going for it when it's not there? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like a ghost, a ghost limb?
Yeah. But this one's good, because it's got like so much, it's got so much more. I think it's got more oomph. It's louder in a way. Wouldn't you say, Ryan? It's like it's got like this thing, the same pickups, right? But for something, it's about the body.
She's special. She's all mahogany.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, being that it's like such a different body and everything going on with it, like if I go to do the, shit, like it comes out more, And I use it for the solos on Welcome Home and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, Ryan's mentioned off camera here that making it maybe a little different, maybe more output is the mahogany body, mahogany cap, and then also the ebony fretboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he said.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but I mean, it's like, when I play the stuff in Welcome Home, like I can't hear, like we've had to switch it up because something's wrong with this or something, and he'll give me a different guitar for that song. Or like for the Suffering, or like 10. We have a song called 10 Speed of God's Blood and Burial, and this is the guitar that I've used for those songs, half step down, since I got it.
Yeah.
12 years. So when they give me a different guitar and I'm playing on those songs, I'm like, this doesn't, it just goes to show you how much the sounds coming from the Axe effects and everything else don't make the difference as much as the guitar do to me.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah.
And we can get to the Axe effects too, but just to stay on the guitar. So yeah, this is basically my half step down always. So, I mean, it's kind of fitting because also when Welcome Home comes up, we usually close the show. Claudio takes out a double neck.
Yep.
And this is out, and it's got the key work, and it's like, but it's not just some sort of effect thing. This is my half step down. This is the one. So people might have noticed before when we're playing a set, if there's songs from Good Apollo or something else, like I think there was 1 or 2 songs that were half step down even on Afterman and on, which is one of our records. Sorry, I'm just spinning off record names. But, and also on Year of the Black Rainbow, this would come out. This gets used, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, it's not just a show thing because of the key work, which is not a sticker. But yeah, but that was always been a debate in Coheed world. They were like, where do you get the sticker that Travis has? And I get it because, like, you know, part of me is like, maybe I should just take like a chisel and go, you know, so everybody's like, see? But I'm not going to do that because it's beautiful. It does have little like holes here that were probably for me just roughing it up. But yeah.
Cool. Let's meet some of the 3. You got some other semi-hollows here.
So, first time messing with these ES335s was when we were recording the album Unheavenly Creatures, which was the album before the one we just released. And I just wanted to try it because I had never messed with one of these. So I went to a guitar center in Paramus, New Jersey. And I sat there for like an hour and a half and everything else wasn't mattering at the time. And it was just probably because I'd never really played one, probably because, you know, that whole, I like to think of myself as still the little kid who just went and picked up a guitar and all the dreams can come true with that instrument, you know. And so I had picked one up that was a red one actually, but I was like, oh, it'd be nice if this was in Sunburst. And so during the album's recording, Claudio and I decided, and now we're well into recording already. Yeah. But we decided that we were gonna like maybe get ourselves guitars, treat ourselves, because we're about to finish a record, and so we got it through Chicago Music Exchange.
All right.
And this came, and though it didn't make that record in particular, it's made a lot of things I've done since in the studio. But what it's really good for is playing live. And I actually use it on our song Favor House Atlantic. Or no, on this tour I'm going back to the Gold Top on that, but I use it on Blood Red Summer. This is perfect for live because it creates this different sound for the songs. I go song specific on them. You know what I mean?
You got the Bigsby added to it after the fact?
Yep. And this one, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and they are always so different guitars, but what's cool about this is as a backup to this one, they are like pretty
close, huh?
Yeah, pretty close. So if that fucks up, this one comes out. And it's like, you know, this one, matter of fact, I had at home and kept the Tobacco Burst on the road for quite some time.
All right.
But I wanted to use the Tobacco Burst on whatever songs, and I liked the sound for it, so I figured I needed a backup. Because if I'm going to use that sound, I might as well have something so. And
I know for strings you're using Ernie Ball 10 to 52s.
Yep.
And is that on all the guitars?
Yep. I stay the same on all of them. I mean, there was one where I was using the thicker strings because we were playing a song where I would tune down to B. Oh. Yeah. So
kind of like
thicken it. Like I felt like it stayed in better tuning and everything. But we haven't played. That was a song called "Century the Defiant." We haven't played that in a few tours.
Was that because Claudio is going down with the
He does the baritone.
Yeah.
So I would be in B, and so that I used a completely. I don't have that guitar now, but I used like I had this teal SG that I used for that. So if we were doing that song, I'd bring that out now. You know, it's funny. I have guitars that I specifically use and that I'm used to for that song and how they sound. And then we're back to this. And like I said, I use this for my drop D songs. Basically, for like certain songs, which we'll start to get into the sounds, like this song in particular, when we were rehearsing, like the chorus parts that are like these it's too overbearing to have that heavy distortion sound, so I stick on what I call what we named the clean drive, which is like, you know, yeah,
it's real crisp.
Yeah, it's definitely the crispness because it sticks out more. And also, I think the other one with Claudio is very driven on that song. I like to make it so whatever I'm doing is not going to muddy it too much, because, you know, he's also a very elaborate and complicated, even if it's rhythms, he's playing very complicated stuff. So if I'm playing something, if I'm playing a rhythm and he's playing a lead, of course, you know. So like on that song in particular, he does a lead eventually. So I need my sound to be thick as fuck while he's doing the lead. And that's not always the case with a lot of Coheed songs, because he's more doing the rhythm and I'm doing, you know, you're like kind of like leady, you know, stuff. Like,
it's always interesting how you guys do go back and forth. There's no set roles, so to
well,
speak.
yeah, I mean, I think that's just from the era of us being in a basement as kids and kind of like, you know, even if he was working out stuff, I mean, it's definitely calmed down throughout the years, but I mean, you'd have one person doing something super complicated. It's like, okay, somebody's got to figure out what the fuck they're doing here, you know what I mean? Like, it's like...
someone's got to steer the ship.
Yeah. So it's like, this one in particular, I like using for all the D stuff. And the last thing that we have here is this acoustic, which, and we'll go back to, I don't want to be too all over the place, but we'll go back to sounds, because I want to get the gold top to finish off talking about
absolutely.
the sounds. But this acoustic that I have here is actually brand new to me. And Gibson was nice enough to give us some acoustics to be able to play with, specifically on this tour for me. And so, you know, when it comes to acoustic guitars, I've always usually played Taylors, but being that I'm such a fan of Gibson in general, and also that I grew up with a specific guitar, that my father was a musician, and he was a songwriter, and he had, Claudio actually has the Gibson that he uses to record a lot, that I had as a kid, that I really started my beginnings of playing, and he played on a lot too when we were kids, and we would always be like, this guitar is amazing. So he finally got that one.
Why didn't you get it?
It's still at my dad's.
Okay.
I'm not, I want my dad to be around for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like, someday maybe that guitar will come up my way.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. But yeah, I mean, that guitar is still in our family. So I can go play with that anytime. I left it in the rain once. Ooh. My dad wanted to kill me. I was like 12. I left it outside in the rain. That fucking thing still survived and still sounds as good as ever. I left it on a pool deck. I was like 12 or 13. I'm like, you know, I'm up there, you know, probably, you know, playing like fucking Zeppelin. You know, and I'm up there and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Put it down. And I like, that was like 2 songs I knew at that age. And I probably was like, I'm gonna go do something else, and left it there. My dad wanted to kill me, yeah. So basically, with this guitar, they threw it, you know, very thankfully, I'm very grateful to Kevin, who is Claudio's guitar tech, because he had asked, hey, maybe Travis could try, you know, one of the Gibsons too. And I love it. Like, this guitar is, you know, it's
the songwriter model. That was the thing you mentioned, your big 5-2 is finger picking. You're big on that.
Yeah. I'm very sloppy, but yeah, you know, it's like, yeah. Yeah, this guitar sounds amazing.
Yeah. And you primarily just use that for like your acoustic VIP set that I know that you guys are doing.
Yeah, we're playing a song called Our Love, which is a completely different version on the album. It's more electronic based. There is guitar on it that Claudio played, but it's like more, yeah, it's not acoustic at all, and we do a completely different version as a band now, as we always usually do. Like last tour, we did a cover of Love Gun by Kiss.
Oh, cool.
And we did this like really interesting, yeah, I mean, it was a dream come true that Paul Stanley actually retweeted it. he was like, this is really, I forgot what he said, this is beautiful or something like that. And he reposted our cover of Love Gun. It was like, holy shit. So yeah, we did that the last tour. We tended to always do an acoustic kind of thing at the beginning for our early entry kind of thing.
That's a treat.
Yeah. So, but I started on acoustic. A lot of things since I was a kid, and I know for Claudio it's true as well. Like a lot of like riffs and stuff like that would always start on acoustic.
Yeah.
And even if he sends a song, I'm usually working on it acoustic first. Like I'll sit with it and I'll play along to whatever it is. Like, you know.
There's something to have an acoustic riff that stands out or feels good.
Yeah.
And then you know that you can take it elsewhere with, you know, all the things that you have at your
Absolutely.
disposal.
Yeah,
If it stands on an acoustic, you're good to go.
There's a song on the record called Blood that we're playing live now, and I'm playing it on electric. I recorded it on electric, but I mean, even like the chorus part that I ended up writing for it was, so I did it on. Which sounds good on acoustic.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of shit. But then I added, there's stuff you can't do, because then I go, and then it goes all the way up, and can't do that on here, you know?
You're running out of room.
Yeah, unless you go. Yeah, so.
Do you want to get on the gold top and we'll kind of go through your patches that you got? Travis, you get gold top back. You're going to take us through the Axe FX patches that you have here. I remember when we did the first one with you guys in 2013, you're one of the first bigger acts that had the Axe FX kind of drifted away from the tube amps. So I know you guys use in the studio, obviously. But you guys are still there, Axe FX 2, tried and true, it sounds like.
Yeah, man.
What you guys do live and what you need.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah, it's actually become a thing. Actually, no. Oh God, dad joke. But it's become a thing where, when it comes to live music, I'm not saying we'll never go back to having live amps. And one of the things that kind of saves it the most is that we do have our Mesa cabinets on stage, so we have that stage volume, and I can still get the sustain and feedback. So it's like, basically, I don't miss it, you know? And I'm not saying that we won't do it again, but I mean, this has served us so well for traveling, and I get all these incredible sounds. Live amps will never be obsolete in the fact of recording. I think that there's something that you can't replace for at least certain songs where you want a live amp sound, but and that's why they do reamping now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you want that sound, you want that roomy sound. But for playing live, you know, with the settings that I've been able to create, which I've kept, you know, for me personally, I've kept my settings for a good 6-7 years now. A lot of them. Like if I go here, there's like a. Oh, I'm not got the volume down, but. And that was for a song off of our album, The Color Before the Sun, which is called Here to Mars. And basically, I kept the same sound in here since, just in case we play that song. That's the only song that I have a specific name for in here.
Yeah, Ryan was showing me beforehand that you just kind of have like patches, not song-specific stuff, just like kind of like...
Yeah, so this is... Solo. That's solo, obviously. That's solo time.
Oh, yeah.
It's called solo time. And so I will go to that if there's like a solo I'm playing in the song. And it's got everything I need to be able to hear the solo I'm playing. And not once has Scott Edwards, aka Shredwards, our sound guy, has never once said, you know, that solo patch doesn't work as well. And I've seen, like, people have showed me, like, you know, let's face it, I'm not gonna lie, I've watched our live stuff before to just make sure it sounds okay, and it sounds great.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck it, why would I change that? You know, so I got solo time. You can't get.
I love that.
You can't get more.
You got literally heavy.
Heavy, and it's pretty dry heavy. So I use that for a song, you know, for a song like that, which is called The Dark Sentencer. I will use that heavy, and you know, because Claude and I are playing the same riff, but I'll break off and like do a harmony of it, and this sound breaks through perfectly with this guitar for that song in particular. Okay, but like I was saying before, you have a song like Beautiful Loser, and this is not in D, but I could just play the riff, and I played it before, but it's still like a lead. It's still a leady kind of thing, and even the little leads in that, those, I don't want that heavy kind of sound because it's not like a harmony of exactly what he's doing. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And I want it to have its space but not be overbearing and mud up the water. So I have this, it's clean drive. It's so simple, but I will use this for like full songs. Like, you know, we have certain songs where I never go off the clean drive.
And then you got a clean one too.
Yeah, well that's, we're gonna go to the fact that clean is kind of like, so basically, if we have a song where, and this doesn't even, look how dry it is.
Yeah.
If we have a song, there's a little bit of reverb going on, but if we have a song where I want to just play a delicate part, but I don't want it to be overbearing and go over, like, let's say Claudio, the one song we're playing on this tour is called Ghost. And if I'm just, drag out too much. I want it to, you know what I mean? Like it's not too washy, it's not too, and so we have a lot of songs where, you know, I will start out on the clean or something, but I don't think we have any songs where I stay on that clean the whole time. I just need a nice, and that's it, Chris.
And I think
that's it.
And I think if I recall correctly, a lot of your heavy and gainier stuff that was modeled after Mesa Boogie. Like inside here, is that kind of what's still in there?
You know, that's why you got to kind of lead me in some, because I get kind of lost. So with this heavy, all of it is kind of based on what I would use as the Mark V when I was using Live Less, and I think that we based a lot of it on me wanting that, you know, that kind of. That kind of sound, to me, I mean, it's got a Mark V kind of Mesa sound, that thick. And even, I loved the clean on the Mesa. I think that really I based my sounds on the Mesas I was using. I have a little mini Fillmore too that I use. And so, yeah, I feel like I was basing a lot of my sound on, and I'm telling you right now, it hasn't changed in 10 years. I've been using these sounds for 10 years. Nobody's said to me, yo, dude, you should really do something different about that. So I've kept them the same way.
If it works,
and
we
could even
man.
go into, and we've stuck with Axe-Fx 2, and I get afraid of going to 3 too, because I don't want to, I love these sounds, I'm used to them, you know what I mean? And I don't want to fuck with them too much. And I have other, you know, other things that I'll go out and play with, and I get worried about playing with live amps because I'm so used to this, you know? So anything that I'm going to be playing in the future, I'm kind of like, well, is there a way for me to bring my Axe-Fx?
Now, the last thing I think I have to ask is, do you guys use in-ear monitors?
Yeah.
And if so, how are you, like, what are you asking for? What do you need in that type of setup?
I keep you know, I probably keep one of the most, I've had my guitar lower than I think I've ever had on this tour. Wouldn't you say, Ryan? I mean, it's still a little loud, but
It's sitting in the mix.
It's sitting in the mix more. I'd say that my mix is more of a album style mix than probably anybody else does. You know, I'd imagine Claudio, I know, that has to have more vocals, his guitar, and drums than anything else. And I'd imagine that everybody has their own little things that they need. But for me, I want to feel like I'm within the song.
Kind of almost like a kid playing along with the record.
Exactly. I want to feel like a kid playing along with the record.
Travis playing along with Travis.
Yeah, so that's it, man.
It's lean and mean. Like I said, you got some new friends, you got some old friends.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really. I mean, that's it.
Get the Shure wireless system.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I utilize the space that I can get with jumping around like a jackass with this. So I'm one of those people like you see people that have like the wireless system and they're like, why do they even have that? But I do. I've gotten tangled, so I'm happy to be on wireless.
Well, awesome, Travis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
We're gonna talk to Claudio and Kevin.
Woo!
All right, we're joined by Claudio. Claudio, you are a man of many talents, and speaking of one of those, you just got back from Comic-Con.
Yes, I did.
How was that experience?
Oh, it's great. You know, we've been doing it since 2004, and it's just kind of become, you know, a thing that we do. Like, you know, it's just part of like the Coheed and Cambria world with the comic book component, and you know, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any like much of a musical presence? I know that Coheed obviously is out there representing what you guys do, but is there any other bands that do appearances there?
You know, I think there have in the past. Like this year, I think Ozzy was there promoting like a Stern pinball machine.
They had the big blow up thing. I saw on Metal Injection.
Yeah, I think that's the only other musical act I sort of came across this year. But again, normally I'm just behind the booth, sort of, you know, helping get the Amory Wars out there. So I'm not really on the floor too much. You know, when I do get the opportunity, however, there's so many people there that, you know, I'm really just like beelining to the thing that I want to be a part of.
You're just a fan too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, fans are not here to talk about comics as much as it is part of your guys' lore.
Right.
It's here to talk guitars, man. And you're an explorer, dude. So talk to me about this one.
I am. Yeah. So this is actually my second Explorer. This is an E2. I found this at Mike's Music, I believe, in Cincinnati.
Okay.
It happened to be, you know, are you familiar with the store at all?
Yes. I've never been, but it's gotten brought up on other rig rundowns. So it's notorious for good finds.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, there's a venue right next door. I think it's called Bogart's, and so I happened to go over there one day, and when we were playing, and I didn't find anything that really like struck me. And at that time, I was playing like sort of a white reissue. But stuffed behind like an SVT cabinet was this guy, like just crammed up against the wall.
Yeah.
And so I reached behind it, grabbed it, and here he or she is now. At the time, it had the original stop bar, or what is that what that's called?
Yeah,
what do you call it? Yeah. I don't even know. But
you just play the damn thing.
Yeah, right. So we modified that. You know, I think we probably put in a nail bomb here. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely seen a lot of years, a lot of wear. The headstock's been severed several times.
Yeah.
I think if you look in the light just right, you can see through it.
Oof.
But yeah.
Now, when you landed on this at Mike's Music, were you seeking an Explorer, or was it just literally one of those aha moments?
Yeah, it was kind of an aha moment. When I found my first Explorer, it was used at a Guitar Center, and Travis and I were, you know, this was like our second tour as Coheed and Cambria, and we just figured, you know, we wanted new guitars. And I found mine on the wall used, and I was like, you know, James Hetfield plays an Explorer. It's kind of outrageous. I like to think I'm a bit outrageous. So I got it, and I found that I just found them comfortable. You know, a place where I can sort of rest my arm at times, and I don't know. I think they're super cool looking.
Yeah, the E2 I didn't realize until recently that makes them different is obviously different wood components, but that the beveling that happens, making them less harsh, I guess, in the arm.
Right. And so I like this guitar so much that I found the sister V, so the same colorway, across the street from MSG. Was another impulse buy. But yeah, I have that at home at my folks.
And I think, in case people didn't watch the last one, this one is dated as an 80, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, I think it's the same day my brother was born, January 4th, 1980. So that was a big...
that's very serendipitous.
Yeah, so it was a big part of like the excitement of the purchase.
Cool, man.
And then, so this axe has been sort of, you know, my kind of staple that this year, I believe this year we came across this one
Yeah, you're kind of one of the Explorer guys now. You, the Edge.
Oh,
no,
right.
Lizzie Hale's got one, but like you, when I think of Coheed and I think specifically you, I think Explorer, man.
Right. So this one we came across in Asheville, and I know what I do to guitars. This one's in like pristine condition.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to. I was like, there's no way. I know it's an E2. It's a different colorway. I'm not going to mess with it. And then it was, to my surprise, Kevin Allen, my partner in this, and my wife surprised me with it on my birthday.
That's so cool.
So yeah, it's same guitar, a little weighty. I think this one may have been I don't want to say chambered, but somebody may have like carved into it a bit because it's not nearly as heavy as this guy. But this one is just beautiful. It's like brand new.
Also, the way you play it, and I know the sweat and everything that you put into your music probably has shredded off some of the wood, whereas this one hasn't gotten that TLC yet.
Every day, it's actually my favorite guitar to play now. It just because of the weight. It's got a little rounder sound to it.
Okay.
I like that. I like when the guitar helps kind of like smooth out the distortions. But I'm also like afraid to play it.
Does that one have a nail bomb? The bare knuckles?
Yeah, I believe we put 2 nail bombs in it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's that. This one's just fun. Gibson, either loaned it to me or gifted it to me. I'm not sure.
It's yours now, either way.
Yeah, and it reminds me of that. There's like these pictures of Hendrix playing a Les Paul custom, 3 pickup configuration in the SG body, with like, I don't think it's a Maestro like this necessarily, but those are the vibes I got off of it.
Do you use that much? I know Travis is more the Bigsby guy. He kind of gets that going, but do you use that ever?
I do.
Okay.
Really when it's time to like get wild and kooky, I'll hammer away on it. I don't use it so much in like soloing per se, but when I kind of whammy with the pitch bend, I'll give this a go just to give it some more color. But I like this guitar a lot actually, and I like that it's like got this weathered, aged.
And that's how it
look.
came to you.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So it's pre-relict.
Yeah, and I didn't know that was the thing they did. So when I got it, I was like, "Uh-oh, did something bad happen?" But I do like that a lot.
How are you choosing which ones to use in songs and stuff?
It depends, like on the song. Because this has become like a staple, like these E2s have become a staple, like I try to come out with them at the top of the set because I know that most photographers are going to be shooting in the first 3 songs. So that said, I love the tonality of them. And I also just like, they're so beautiful together. Like, I like them coming out, in sequential order. But yeah, I'll choose those for the top. So I chose this guitar for Blood because of the middle pickup configuration, just because I'm trying to emulate Andy Summers. It's definitely, the song has like a big Police kind of vibe to it. So I understand that like Andy Summers was using single coils probably, but
Strat, I think.
But I figure where it sits in the guitar, like I think it does a pretty good job of recreating that vibe. Yeah, absolutely.
What about this V here?
So I bought this around the time of the Unheavenly Creatures record.
Ooh, that's sharp.
It's a V custom, but the problem is I liked it. So I couldn't decide between that one or this one. So I just got them both. But yeah.
Why choose?
Yeah, right. I don't buy guitars that often, so I guess I was like overdue, so I got these 2. Just because I like that they, the sister sort of vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think, we're putting in
They have a real tuxedo vibe to them with the black and the white binding.
Right, and I love the gold. Gold against black.
Yeah.
I think I just thought it looked classy. But yeah, you could see all the sweat like burning into the metal, it looks like.
Now these black and white companions, are they backups or they get some stage time?
Oh yeah, the V gets stage time at the back end of the set.
Okay.
The Explorer hasn't gotten any on this tour, but has in the past.
Gotcha.
This guitar is pretty special because this guitar has been with me since the beginning of Coheed. So I bought this. It's another Guitar Center purchase. But on one of our first tours, I broke the headstock.
Oh.
And I didn't realize that you could replace them. I didn't know that. I didn't think it was a thing. And so I left it in a van, like one of the band's old vans, and it just sat there to kind of rot. And on social media, I got a post. It's kind of a long story, but
Go for it.
so you know, a house of mine had been vandalized several years ago, and so I got this post on social media that somebody found a guitar. I think they had thought that guitars were stolen in the vandalization, but that's not what happened. And I looked, and I'm like, wow, that guitar looks really familiar, and I could tell from these bites. And of course the Puerto Rican flag, and the headstock was broken. It wasn't repaired. So it turned out somebody had acquired it and sold it, passed it off as my guitar.
Wow.
And it was. And so I just made a trade once I got out to Chicago for something else that they wanted, and then Kevin repaired it. And look at that repair.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, like, I've never really seen it. I've seen it more at the base of the headstock. I've never really seen it kind of up further on the front side. You can really see where the split was.
Yeah, the cut was like that.
Wow.
You know, it was like we were young. We didn't have strap locks. The guitar fell off mid singing, snapped the headstock. It was, you know, it was toast. And again, then I had no idea that you could repair anything like that. I mean, you know, I still don't. Like, for example, I don't even know what that is. Yeah. But yeah, so this one's really special that I still have it. Like 20 years, you know, we're celebrating our 20-year anniversary, and it's just nice to have this out. It only makes its way onto one song in the set, but it's cool that it's here.
That's a real special full circle moment having that
right
you and all it's went through.
Yeah, and then so this has been with me for a while. This is the same guitar I used in the Suffering video. You know, it's just a sort of a reissue. It's got the nail bombs in it. It's got a lot of nicks. I think this one, it might be the only guitar of the time that doesn't have a broken headstock. You know, that so
Its day will come.
yeah, I know. Or am I wrong in saying that? But yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course, there's, you know, we have this J45. This was a gift from Gibson. You know, it's beautiful sounding acoustic guitar.
And are you playing much acoustic live? I know that you guys do the VIP treat for the few fans that get to check that out, but are you using that on stage?
Yeah, so I use this one for a song called Ghost, and I use the Taylor on a mount for the top end of Window of the Waking Mind.
Okay.
So that's that.
And of course, there's one electric left here that people probably have seen many, many times.
Right, this silly guy. This dude. So this was like, you know, when I got this, it was like sort of a gimmick, because I wrote and recorded Welcome Home, and I was like, you know, there's some Kashmir DNA in that song.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I told management, I was like, you know, well, let's show the homage a little clearer and get this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this has been with me since 2007. And it's a custom job. You can see that, like, they did not the greatest job in the paint on the backside. Like, that was always like that.
Oh, really? So that's not from your just hand?
No. But yeah, it does the job. I love it. You know, I can't see playing the set without it. Well, at least when Welcome Home's in the song, in it, and it's never not. So,
Claudio, as you put away the big beast, what strings are you using on your guitars?
I'm using these guys right here: tens, slinkies, Ernie Ball. Yeah.
Has that always been the case for you, Ernie Balls?
You know, it's been
or been at least for a while.
Yeah, for a while. More recent, you know, for a while we were using DRs. You know, at home I sometimes use like GHSs, but out here, you know, I use
Ernie balls.
Yeah.
And then anything special-wise picked, or is it just kind of whatever you grab?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a 73.
Okay.
Like, but just a Tortex. You know, it's got custom art on it, but.
Of course.
Yeah, right.
You guys are a very visual band.
Right.
And I think moving on, obviously we were talking to Travis, and he has the Axe effects going on, just like you still have. And I'm sure that's still the same one that you used when we filmed one with you guys in 2013.
Yeah. It's just consistency.
Yeah.
You know, especially when we go abroad, it just, for so long we found it's like the inconsistency uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and this way it's just like playing here everywhere. You know?
Now Travis had gone through his patches, and he even said that, like, I think he hadn't changed much in 7 or 8 years. Is that kind of how you are? You always changing things up?
Just a hair. Like, I think we've added like a chorus patch.
Okay.
A fuzz, an octave. You know, for shoulders. You know, things like that. I don't know if that changes much from what we had talked about earlier.
And there is, speaking of fuzz, you have something coming on the horizon
I
that people
do.
should probably be very excited about.
Yeah, so for the 20-year anniversary of the band, we're doing sort of a muff clone with an overdrive circuit. And like 20 years ago, that's what I used. I had I think it was a version 6 big muff. And in front of that, I would put like an SD1, like a Boss Yellow Super Overdrive.
Yeah.
And that was my sound, like second stage era of the band and everything before that. And so we partnered with Wren and Cuff to sort of recreate that, but also add some cooler modifications to it, maybe some alternative overdrives to you know, to just like boost the muff, you know. But yeah, that's what we're working on, and it's we calling it the Anna, because the muff that I had acquired, I didn't acquire it in the cleanest of ways. I actually stole it.
Really?
Yeah. From a high school teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it just so happened it was in a drawer. It was calling me, you know. I was a fan of Jay Mascis. There it was. I didn't know what a big muff was. I finally saw one, so I was like, you know,
There's
I'm
so
gonna
many
put these
different question marks
sneaky fingers to work. And
based on those like elements of the story. Is like a teacher having a big muff in her drawer.
well, it was a music teacher.
Oh, that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I thought this was like a history teacher. Like all of a sudden just has a big muff in her drawer.
Yeah. But he was a really cool music teacher. Bert Hughes was his name, and he had later come to a show, and I had confessed to him my thievery, and he actually said it was a gift for me.
Oh wow!
So,
Preemptive strike.
I know. But inside that muff, there is a sticker. Whoever assembled the board, their name was Anna. And I thought it was perfect because it is the anniversary of the record, the anniversary of that sound, to call it Anna.
That's cool. Man, and were you able to get the unit to Wren and Cuff to like reverse?
Yeah.
So they pretty much.
Yeah, they took it and they've actually cleaned it up a little bit, but they've actually posted it on their social media, like the actual unit with the blood on it. There's blood on it, you know, like tape markers from, you know, where I would position the knobs, and yeah, they took it and cloned it, and now we're, you know, adding those modifications to it. It's pretty cool. We got a prototype before the last tour. And it was just like so much fun to mess with because I still utilize that configuration when we record records, because I know it's a guaranteed, like I know it guarantees a certain sound, and it certainly does a beautiful feedback, a creamy, like wild feedback. I actually used it on the last record on a song called Toys. There's a moment in Toys where this outrageous feedback happens before we go into like the verse, and that's that configuration. That's with the yellow overdrive in front, and but yeah, I'm really excited about it.
That's cool, man. And do you know if it's going to, maybe this is not a decision you've made yet, is if it's going to be like a wide release, or is it going to be like a limited thing to like 250 units, or is it going to be like an active pedal that will be in the Wren and Cuff lineup?
You know, I'm not sure yet. I mean, I think we're just getting to that point where we're going to have those conversations, but I guess we'll make it as available as people want it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Claudio, thank you so much for talking gear with us.
Oh, you got it. Thanks for having me.
People are going to be excited. about the guitars. You know, everyone loves hearing about your guitars and why you have them. Get to see the 20th anniversary one come back, you know, full circle with that one. That's so sweet. And then get the news of the Muff coming out. So congratulations to you, the band, Wren and Cuff. You guys check it out. Thank you again, man. Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Thank you again for having me.
All right. I know that I said we're wrapped up when we got done with Claudio's gear, but Zach was walking by. He's like, let's talk gear. I was like, come on, Zach, get the basses. So his tech, Kevin, graciously brought this back into the tone zone where we talked with Travis. Zach, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good, man. Good.
Awesome.
We're separated by these lovely basses, so let's dive into it. You're kind of a P guy.
Yes.
Your origins with the band and prior, but these are different Ps, so tell me about them.
Yeah, so these are all Nash Ps. We've got the PB, I believe it's the 57.
Okay, yeah, that's right. They kind of have like different eras.
Yeah. So this is the PB 57, and these two are both PB 63s.
What do you dig about the differences? Like, where do you tell from what's going on?
So the 63s, the necks feel a little chunkier, like a little, maybe a little. There's like a little bit more beef to them.
Bigger profile.
And, yeah, a little bigger profile. And the Rosewood boards too, so a little different there. And then this guy with the the maple, and it's a little more slender, but still I love this bass.
And how did you get into Nash? I know that's a cool story.
Yeah, so Kevin and I have talked about Nash on and off for a couple of years, and last summer when we were on tour with the Used, we went to Chicago Music Exchange, and I played a bunch of...
Dangerous spot.
Oh, so dangerous. But every time we go to Chicago, we make it a point to go in there.
As you do.
Check stuff out, yeah. So I went in and I was like, you know what? If I see a Nash P-Bass in there and I play it and it's killing, I'm just going to buy it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw it on stage that night and play it.
You had it pre-ordered in your head.
I was like, I kind of want to get one. And we went, and they didn't have any Ps. They had some jazz basses. So I played some of those, and they're just awesome. They felt so correct,
Yeah.
The feel, the sound, everything was right. And so I didn't buy one that day, but when I got home from that tour, they had this one listed online, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So I ordered it, and it came to the house, and I loved it immediately. And it's actually kind of funny. These basses come in like an alligator skin case, and it's green. So when the box came, when it got delivered, I was home with my 4-year-old daughter. Yeah. And I pulled it out, and I was like, look at that. She's like, oh, it's like an alligator. And then I opened the case, and it was green. And she's like, it's an alligator bass. so I call it the alligator bass, and I put an alligator sticker on the back.
That's rad.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. She's hilarious. But yeah, so I ordered it and loved it. Like, hit Kevin up and was like, man, this bass is blowing me away. I love this thing. It's so cool. And so he was like, well, hey, he's like, I know Britain over at Nash, so let's get in touch. And so we got in touch, and we had these guys built. So
cool. And how are you using them? I know that you guys have several tunings, so is that kind of what breaks it up in terms of like how you're getting use out of them? That's
what breaks it up. So this one is tuned to half step down, so it's an E flat.
Okay.
This guy right here is tuned, it's basically tuned to fourth down, so it's B, E, A, D.
Okay.
So I get the low B, and then this is, the black one's in standard. So the black one kind of is the majority of the set is on that one.
And if you had to pick one, I know that this is going to be difficult, but if you had to pick one, because you said yourself, if you had one tuning, you would only probably come with one bass.
I would probably, yeah.
So which one out of these three?
Out of the three, it would probably be the black one.
Okay.
And I think that's why that one's in standard, and it gets played most of the night. But not for any reason other than, yeah, I guess it would be tough to pick, honestly.
Before we move on to the conversation starter that is the knob here.
Yeah.
Electronics, is there anything we should know? I know that you're a Seymour Duncan guy, so what do you got there?
Yeah, so I use Seymour Duncan quarter pounders.
Okay.
So yeah, Seymour Duncan artists. So we get these basses, we put the Seymour Duncans in, and then we also put a badass bridge on them. And and then we take out the tone knob, so I just have one volume. because that's all I can handle.
And that's worth noting. That is the volume knob. Is where did this come from? Because
It kind of started out as a silly thing. I would kind of mess with different knobs on old basses that I had, and Kevin was like, I showed up to rehearsal with some bass that had a funky knob on it, and he was like, oh, where'd you get that? And I told him, I don't remember where it was at the time, but he was like, oh, you should check out this other guy, this other site, Love My Switches. So I did, and I was like, oh, these are cool. So I ended up getting a bunch, and I was telling you before, I have a drawer full of knobs.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
weird knobs.
I had no idea that website existed. He pulled it up and he showed me, and it just blew my mind that someone's dedicated a career or a business to this kind of geekery.
Yeah.
Knobs and switches, and it's just not limited to bass stuff. It's like pedals.
Yeah, because you get a lot of these knobs you can use on pedals and kind of give stuff a little bit more unique, like design aesthetic, I guess,
And I could see also maybe being a cool thing to slap on a certain pedal that maybe you want to tow ride it. And so being big like that, I could see maybe that being actually utilitarian.
Absolutely, yeah. And I was telling you, I have some even bigger ones that are kind of just a little obnoxious. But you could tow ride it really easy. You could adjust stuff on the fly. So.
And before we move on for basses and talk about what else is going on in your rig, what should we know about strings?
Ernie balls. Ernie ball slinkies.
45
to 105 on the standard.
Okay.
50 to 110 on the half step, and 65 to 125 on the B bass.
That's beefy.
Yeah, it's pretty beefy.
And are you switching between pick? I know that you guys have such a range of emotions in your music.
Yeah.
So are you fingerstyle pick?
It's fingerstyle all night.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on record. I've played with the pick a handful of times, like when it really calls for it. But my pick playing, I want to get better at playing with the pick. I practice at home all the time, but I still kind of suck at it. So I don't want to bring it to the show and be like slop city, you know? Like I watch videos of like Bobby Vega playing with a pick, and I'm like, well, I shouldn't be doing that.
It's like it's just not even.
There's other guys that do it really well, and I'm pretty lame at it. So it's hard. I try, with string. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the set with like some pretty big string skipping for me, and it's easy for me to do with my fingers. But if I'm playing with a pick, I'm just
clunky.
It gets real clunky, real fast. So
and everyone's kind of moving and grooving outside. You got the video wall going up. You're doing like sound testing, line checks. So we can't actually show. We'll show some photos. But what do you got going on for your amps and pedals?
So amps and pedals, I am using Aguilar amps now, which is a recent switch.
How'd that come about?
So last summer when we were on tour with the Used. Jeff, their bass player, and I were talking about gear and like kind of nerding out about stuff, and his rig sounded so good. Like every night I'd go over to the stage and be like, this sounds so amazing, And so we got talking, and I would compliment his sound and his all that kind of stuff. And I mean, he was playing like a badass up there too, so it was awesome, And he ended up reaching out and connecting me to the Aguilar guys.
Nice little handshake. Yeah,
it was super cool. He kind of like connected us, and then we started talking, and that kind of rolled into starting a relationship. So they like brought me into the fold, and we were rehearsing for a tour earlier this year, and we were rehearsing in Brooklyn, and they sent a bunch of different amps over to the rehearsal spot. Yeah,
I went to their shop once. It's cool.
Yeah, I know. I want to go. I haven't been yet, but it's early, so. But they sent over a bunch of rigs, and they're like, hey, check out some stuff and see what you like. And so Kevin and I hooked up a bunch of different rigs and played through stuff, and then I used it in rehearsal to see what would work. And I landed on, I kind of figured this is where I would land, but I'm playing the DB 751 heads.
That's like the
big guy, yeah.
Are those tube driven?
It's got a tube preamp.
Okay.
But it's probably the most powerful amp I've ever played through. It's insane. I like literally got the volume up to like maybe 1.5, and I was like, it's too loud. I have to turn it down in rehearsal because it's like just blowing everything away. It's like so powerful, so beefy, so punchy. So it's everything about it. It's really a kind of a dream rig for me anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever mess around with their smaller ones, or was it just probably not enough juice?
Yeah, we did. So I tried out, I think it was like the AG 700 maybe, and they might have sent a tone hammer too. I can't remember, but we tried them all. Everything sounded great, but the DB751 was the one that was like, for this band, for this show, for everything like that, this is the sound. It's perfect. But I'll probably end up getting like a tone hammer for the house.
If anything, you could, just keep it in the gig bay. You're always ready to go.
Exactly.
But I'm sure it was part of it was you transitioned from the Super Bassman, which is all tube.
Yep.
So having that tube preamp maybe is kind of like a softer landing spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you still get a little bit of that sound, you know. So
now I know Travis has a cab on stage, and I'm not sure. And I apologize. I should have asked Claudio. I'm sure he does too as a cab on stage. Now you have a cab on stage.
Yep.
You just all okay.
Yep.
And what are you running for that?
So it's the Aguilar DB810.
Okay.
So there's one on either side. They kind of bookend the stage setup. Stage right isn't actually on. Only stage left. Because if I have that blasting, it's just going to annoy Travis. It's not going to do me much good. So
yeah.
So that's actually a backup. Like if anything happens, we can
do a switch.
We can switch them out.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
And then what do you got on the floor? The only guy in the band that has pedals. What are you using?
Yeah, I've got pedals on the floor. So yeah, before this tour, I kind of changed it up a little bit. Aguilar had sent me a couple of pedals, and I was messing with them, and so I put some of them on. So I have a TU2. So that's right into a TU2. I've got the Aguilar, the Optimizer.
Okay.
Octave. Yeah, Optimizer.
Yeah.
Their octave pedal, which is awesome. Like we do one of the new songs off the new record that's in the set, Disappearing Act.
Okay.
I use it during the verses because it gets this like real synthy kind of thing, and just kind of a little change
different
there. Different flavor, yeah, exactly. So it's that pedal sounds awesome. It's super like organic sounding octave pedal. And then I have a Mantic Vitriol, which is like a distortion pedal.
Yeah.
But it's just like rip your head off distortion. It's the raddest.
So there's no subtlety to it.
There's no subtlety. Like the way that I set it up.
Yeah,
true. Yeah. I just. It's like this is what I want it to do, and this is what it does, and I love that pedal. It's been on my board for probably, man, I don't know, probably like 7 years.
Okay.
And it's just it stays while other things rotate around it because I always want to have it there.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. The Mantic guys make some of the coolest stuff. So, and they some of the best
risks,
dudes.
We'll say.
They take risks, yeah, but like they take risks, but the stuff is so cool. Yeah. And it's inspiring to use, you know? Like I have one of the flex pedals that they made, and I have like the Density Hulk, and I've got a bunch of stuff that they've made, and every single pedal they make is like inspiring to turn. Like you turn it on and something comes out, and it's like, this is cool, and
that's a testament when gear becomes something more than just, you know, this is part of the gig, this is part of the job, this is my thing.
Yeah.
It's like that's where it kind of goes to another realm.
It absolutely.
The inspiration come from there.
Yeah, it'll like take you down paths that you never would have gone without it. You know, it's really, really cool. It's very inspiring. And then I have an Aguilar Aggro distortion, which is another awesome distortion pedal that I use like for kind of some crunchy touches during the set for like a couple of parts and things. And then I just put the Line 6 DL4 Mark II on the board, which has some really cool new sounds. So I've been using that a bunch. There's a couple of moments like during In Keeping Secrets, there's this kind of like freak out moment where everybody kind of goes nuts, and I turn that on with the Vitriol, and it's like and it's just like going nuts. Everybody's just kind of going nuts, and it's kind of a cool.
It's mayhem.
Yeah, it's a cool moment of like just craziness. And then it's got like some glitch settings that I started using in Disappearing Act.
Yeah.
And there's like, I use a reverse delay during Dark Sentencer. There's like all kinds of cool little touches. It's funny, like I said this to you before too, like I could do the show with just a tuner pedal.
Yeah.
But it's like I just want to mess with stuff.
There's so much joy it brings to you to be able to do all those different colors.
Exactly. And it's really just like, I don't know if it helps anything, but it's just fun.
It helps you have fun, and there through the fun you're performing better.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if I'm any better. I might be worse. but it is cool. It's fun to use that stuff. So
And
yeah.
then, and is not having it in front of us. Is there anything else that's on your board that you worth mentioning?
That's all that I have on there. Well, there's a radial DI that Kev uses to run the wireless through.
Gotcha.
But that stuff. Is this Hall & Oates going to be too loud for you?
I think we're good. Hall & Oates is always a welcome addition.
Look, trust me. Just yesterday, my wife took a video of me dancing to Hall & Oates with my daughter. So.
I wish we could put that right there.
It was awesome. But yeah, I think that's all I have on the board right now. I've had a bunch of stuff and cycled through some things, and so it stayed the same for a while. And I figured before this tour I'd change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Try some new.
The world has changed the last how many years? So should your pedal board.
My rig changed. My pedal, new basses. I was joking that it's taken me a little more time to settle in on this tour because everything is new.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I haven't done that in a long time. So.
Well, Zach, thank you for agreeing to stop by and talk gear. As I saw you walk by, we stopped you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And this time, I swear we're done. I'll get out of your guys' house. Have a good day.
Awesome.